know, Chris.
I think well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to you?
How much coffee did you drink before the show?
Listen, you can't polish a sneaker, right? throw tomatoes at me, do whatever you're going to do.
It's Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Chris Corso alongside Mark Catone and Joe Guarnieri, and we are presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And listen, you can see us on YouTube at Joe. I think people would like to see us. No, you want to be watching this with Mark and
see your ugly mugs. They want to see them.
They want to see me. I'm a cross between Jack Nicholson and The Shining, and one flew over the cuckoo's nest. For Christ's sake.
So you can see us on YouTube. This is what I mean. You can see us on YouTube. Just make sure you type in Corso and Catone. All of our shows will pop up. Hey, subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Tell everybody we want you following us. So, but if you can only listen, that's fine too. You can do that on iTunes Radio, the iHeartRadio app. And for you Alexa listeners, just go ahead and say, Alexa, play Corso and Catone podcast on iHeart, and we will pop up. So check us out on Twitter at Corso_Catone. And, of course, our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Very, very popular. Call 24/7. Anything's on the table. Leave us a message. Joe's going to go through, pick the one to be on the show. And the one could be yours. So 855.
Our caller last week. I think Brad Marchand was listening to the show.
I know. That's why. We'll talk about that in a second. But 855-313-7287 heated hotline. So, gentlemen, everybody have a nice week.
Oh yeah, baby.
What's the temperature over there? Just curious.
Today's not bad, Chris. It's like 58 degrees. Beautiful today.
Oh, that's nice. It's 75 here. But
rub it in.
Just wanted to let you know. So, well, listen, we got a packed show today. We're going to have, in addition to Heated Hotline, we're going to have our weekly rewind. A lot happened this week. So Deflategate's back in the mix. Got Celtics trades, and there's some people in the NFL, one player in particular, saying some real stupid stuff. So and listen, I'm told, I don't know what it is, but I'm told Catone's comments is definitely worth the watch. So make sure you stick around. And everybody in the nation, the Pats Nation, hey, we're going to have Coach's Corner, a lot to discuss there. And, of course, our breakdown of Super Bowl 56, Rams, Bengals. And our 2-minute warning, we're going to acknowledge a couple of players that probably deserve it, I would think. So, guys, you ready for Heated Hotline?
Let's go, Joe.
Hotline.
Let's have it, Joe.
This is Tony from Worcester. You know what I love about you guys? You don't follow the narrative. Here we go again. We got another Brett Favre on our hands. Tom Brady controlling the narrative, but once again, comes on Jim Gray. I don't know if you guys saw this, but goes on Jim Gray. Jim Gray doesn't ask a word about the Patriots and him not mentioning the Patriots and his retirement. And then he says, never say never. If you're going to retire, never say never. Tom Brady, never say never. Got another Brett Favre, guys. Got another Brett Favre. What do you guys think? Love you guys.
Is that Derek? Was that his name? Derek from Worcester?
I thought you said Tony from Worcester.
Tony?
Yeah, Tony from Worcester.
Tony. Okay, Tony, listen, we appreciate the call. A lot of energy, Tony. A lot of energy. Wow. I can see why, Joe, I can see why you selected that one.
Out there.
Tony.
313
These guys, these people got to call us at night, Chris. They got all worked up.
Must.
They you know.
That's what we get. We get the wee hour of the morning people. All right, Anthony. So let's talk. Mark and I are going to talk about this right now. And he brings up some things that everybody's thinking about. So, Mark, what do you make of that? Brady's interview on Jim Gray does that interview every Monday night, with Jim Gray, which we know he controls.
And you know what? Yeah, he controls the narrative on that. He controls the questions and evidence. So I think that's another thing. Everything with Brady, Chris, is planned. Right? It's all planned. So that was planned. He wanted to drop that in there. Obviously,
scripted.
It was scripted. The question was asked. He knew how he was going to react to the question. He wanted to throw that out there because, listen, Chris, I think he had enough of that clown act. And we've talked about this. He had enough of the clown down there, the cartoon character, Arians, obviously, right? Had enough of him. They got a bunch of free agents, Chris. I don't think they can sign them. He must have said to himself, "Get me the hell out of this clown show," right? He retired.
Yeah.
I think he probably asked them if they would let him go, and they said no, so he retired. And listen, Chris, the only places I would see him playing is if something happens in Vegas and McDaniels picks that phone up with the spots he's got around him.
Yeah.
And he's got a ready-made team already in Frisco. And that's his childhood, team, San Fran. I don't see him playing for anybody else.
That's the team.
If he comes back.
Yeah, that's the team I think he'll end. And listen, I think he'll come back. I'm in that camp of same thing what you said, that clown show circus act down there. And finally the honeymoon was over and he realized that this is not even close to what it needs to be and what I'm used to. I got to get the hell out of here. And you should see it's funny because talking about the free agents they got there, Mike Evans is trying desperately to come on and talk about, I think we're going to be good after Brady. We'll be okay. You're going to suck. You're going to suck so bad.
Chris, Godwin's a free agent.
He's done. He's gone.
Fournette's a free agent.
Gone.
The tight ends are free agents.
Gone.
The other running back, Jones, free agent. The other running back that they signed from Cincinnati, I forget his freaking name, Bernard, free agent. Like everybody they got is on a 1-year contract, Chris. They're gonna have nothing left on offense.
That team is done. And who's the head coach there now again? Who is that?
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, okay, right. Darth Vader. So you know
Mickey
what? You're right. We don't forget who. So that's it. So Brady. So he's gonna pull the act that Favre and the rest of them pulled, where he's gonna wait until all the free agent money is spent by
Tampa. So he knows Tampa can't bring him back.
Right. They can't bring him back. Any trades. And so they're going to be locked in. So because he's not going to file his papers. He doesn't need to get on their pension plan. So he's got to, when you retire, you got to file if you file papers with the league, you can't come back. If you remember,
Chris, Gronk didn't file papers either.
No, because all it is getting on these guys they don't need to be on the NFL's pension at this point. So he'll wait and then he'll want to come back out. And the rule is, when he comes back out, you get so many days where you got to either pay him his contract, release him, or trade him. So in my opinion, how does this sound? A trade, and I don't think he's got a no trade clause. How about a trade to San Francisco for Garoppolo, who we know is done there? That's it. So Garoppolo goes to Tampa, even up. You get Brady goes over there. Trey Lance, sit down and let Brady, because he'll win a Super Bowl there, Mark. He'll
win a Super Bowl next year with that team. He'll win.
Picture him with Debo Samuel and Kittle.
Next year they win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And next year they win a Super Bowl.
I thought Rodgers was going to go to San Fran.
Listen, I told you last week, Rodgers in his Volkswagen flower car, and he's driving across the country with that long hair getting
MVP. Did you see him, Chris, at the NFL Awards?
I can't watch that. That's unwatchable, in my opinion. But what did he do?
No, he showed up there. He had on, you're talking the flower car. He had on like a mustard, whatever color suit he had on with the long hair. Yeah, this is special. Why don't you win a goddamn ring, pal? Why don't you forget the MVPs? Why don't you be a real good team player? Do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Show some goddamn guts and be clutch. And I don't give a shit what you do in the regular season. I'm so sick of looking at him. Oh, Father, Rodgers is so great. What has he ever done under the money? When the lights are on and it's money time, what does he do? He chokes. He's a choker. And I'll tell him to his face, he's a choker. I want him on the show.
Yes, Joe. He threw those Hail Marys. I think one against Arizona. Yeah. But listen,
the Super Bowl he won against Pittsburgh.
Oh, that was a leftover from
Favre's guys,
Holmgren.
right? Holmgren's guys. And then, but even in that game, Chris, Pittsburgh kind of wet themselves in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
it's
my
not
God.
like he did anything to win that game, remember?
Yeah, Tomlin pulled Tomlin.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, but don't Anthony from Worcester, listen, he retired for that reason only. And you know what, Mark, I'm with him. This is going to be a pain in the ass. This is going to be constant listening to it the whole lot. But it is Brett Favre again. It's either that or Brady needs to keep himself relevant so that he can build other things going on to keep his name relevant in the sports world. One of those two things.
Well, this morning, Chris, I saw on my phone, he's in Costa Rica holding hands with the wife. They're walking on the beach. So maybe he is done, Chris. I don't know. But like you said, Chris, he has to keep himself relevant to build his brand into other things. Maybe I don't know.
And as
I
far
don't
as the other half of what Tony's asking about the fact that Jim Gray doesn't ask him anything about why he
It's
excluded,
scripted.
it's all scripted. Which Jim Gray lost all credibility in my book a long. Once he became Brady's little lackey over there to get things out in the press, he became that. So that's why he didn't talk about that. And last week we talked all about the statement and all of that. People are pissed in New England, and they're going to stay pissed off.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's going to be. So, Heated Hotline was presented by Studio 42 Design, studio42designs.com. And listen, Mark, so much when it's hard. Listen, Joe, it's hard to come up. It's hard to narrow down the topics for Weekly Rewind.
I
We
just
could
love
talk-
the energy, man. When people call, if you want to get on, folks out there, call up, give me some energy, give me something good. I love it.
But Weekly Rewind's tough to do. But let's get to it.
There's a lot of stuff this week.
There is. Going back through the week. About a Weekly Rewind. And Joe, I'm changing up my shirts a little bit. As you can see, it's not just the red shirt anymore.
There you go.
Everybody paying attention out there. That's why you have to see us on YouTube. You have to see.
Times in one day, people think we're recording these things.
Mark, Deflategate's back in the news again. Explain
What?
why. Explain why, please.
Please, that was ridiculous, Chris. But I don't even. Well, I guess this week a report came out, and who was I forget who the local New England reporter was. It says that it's being reported that he's writing a book, I guess, and he's reporting that the NFL, when they went into the locker room during that whole time period, went in. Troy Vincent, who was vice president of something or other, right? With
Right.
the, whatever. With
He
the
had a
league.
big job there.
He had a big job at that point, right? Goes in, fudges the numbers, right? They made it seem like 10 out of 12 balls it was like one ball that was off, and it was within the legal limit of being off because of weather. So really, technically, there probably was no balls that were deflated that particular day. They knew that he was deflating them, but if they went by the PSI, they probably could have thrown that case out. They didn't have a case. Don't get me wrong. Then they got into the cell phones and the text messages. I'm not saying they didn't incriminate themselves, right, through that stuff. But the actual balls themselves that led to that whole investigation, Chris, was made up. It wasn't even factual information. They made it up.
Yeah, and I think it was. I'm looking for the guy who I think it's Bob Kravitz. Does that sound right?
It might be. I forget his
Who
name.
broke
His
that
name
story?
escapes me at this point, Chris.
Yeah, Mark. I mean, this is and you know what's funny is it was 2015. They ignored the science. They just completely ignored it. You know, the cold. It's simple. Cold weather, you're going to have less air. Warmer weather, more air, based on the weather and what it does to the ball. And they took all the 2015 numbers, you know, the halftime. They went and checked all the balls in a lot of different games randomly, and everything was basically the same as what New England's was, based on the cold weather, the warm weather, and so on. So basically what it turns out is that New England did nothing. They did nothing wrong. Yeah. But then it turned into, well, the cell phone, and he's obstructing. It should have never been a story to begin with.
And Chris, I think that's why. I think that was the start of that relationship becoming worse between Brady, Kraft, Belichick.
Yeah, because they didn't. Belichick didn't go to bat.
He didn't go to bat for him, and Kraft kind of caved when I think Brady was telling them, "But I didn't do it. There's nothing wrong with those goddamn balls.
Right.
Everybody in the league's doing it."
Right. Yeah. It was.
You know,
it was ridiculous then. It's ridiculous now. Okay.
But then they're saying, Chris, the follow up to that is they're saying, yes, they stuck it to them there, and Goodell acknowledges it, and then he does Kraft a favor because the Spygate, so-called, with the Cincinnati Bengals was a hell of a lot. They're saying it's a hell of a lot worse than what was really reported. Goodell said we did an investigation. There was nothing to it, but they're saying there really was something to it, and that was his payback to Kraft for what he did in 2015 to them. I don't know if it's true, Chris, But that's what they
What a
reported.
bunch of bullshit. You know what? Just call it right
what they
all the way
reported.
around. They're so corrupt. Mark, this is nothing new, though. We knew they would. Everybody out there, all the conspiracy theorists, you're right. You were right then. You're right now. They were trying to put the screws to New England because it's bad for business.
The owners were one of them bad. The owners
Because it's
around the league.
It's bad for business for one team to be winning all the time. It's just bad for business. This is what you want. You want Bengals. You want some of these teams that, and I get it, they're lower markets, but it creates that parity. You can't have parity when you go one team that's kicking the crap out of everybody. And even then, when they tried to do it, that same year they came back and they won the Super Bowl. So I mean, you know, they tried. It's clear. It's nothing new, Mark. Nothing new. And as far as Goodell, real quick, did you hear him when he was interviewed about it this
Chris,
week?
that press conference was so bad.
I haven't talked about Deflategate in a long time. He's like, I don't know. You look, and I don't know where those samples went. Okay.
Yeah,
There
we
you
don't
go.
keep track of that stuff, he said.
They went in the trash, Mark.
Really? You don't keep track of that stuff? Come on.
Listen, we haven't talked. Yeah, that's a joke. I mean, it's a complete joke. We got screwed, and now they're happy. So, Mark, we haven't talked Celtics in a while.
No, we have
And,
not, Chris.
This week was the trade deadline. They made 2 moves. So break down the first
Well,
move.
actually, they made 3 moves.
They made a smaller insect that Bull
yeah.
and PJ Dozier.
So they moved Schroeder, and they moved what's the other guard? What was?
Well,
his
they
name,
moved.
Chris?
So the one trade was Richardson, Langford,
Richardson,
and
yeah.
a 22 first round pick. It's protected. I
Yep.
think it's 1 through 4, 1 through 8. To the Spurs in exchange for Derek White. So, you know, what do you make of that? You
I
like
think
the
that's a
deal?
good-
Is it
I
good?
like-
Are
I
they
like
better
the
or
deal.
worse?
I like the deal, Chris, because if you look at the landscape of the NBA, yeah, he's making $17-18 million a year, but that's technically NBA wise, that's cheap money. I mean, shoot, everybody's making over $20 million in the NBA.
Oh my
right?
God, yeah.
So the kid plays defense, the kid can score,
Yeah.
and the kid can distribute the basketball. I think he's a better version of Marcus Smart, believe it or not. In my opinion, I think he's a better version of Marcus Smart. Nobody hears about him because he's playing in San Antonio. San Antonio's in a rebuild. So you don't really hear about him. Listen, he had to have impressed Brown and Tatum and his coach because they played together in some
In San Antonio,
international
he
tournament.
played. Yeah, and he
No, but
played for
they played on
Doku.
he played on an international team with those guys, and Smart was on that international team too. So they knew who this kid was.
Yeah.
And
And
Steven
he played
said,
for San
Chris,
Antonio when
he did.
Udoka was there.
Yes, absolutely. And Steven said it was too good to pass up when we found out he was available. It was too good to pass up.
Well, he was drafted in 17. He averaged 14.5 per game, 42% from the floor, 31% free three-pointer, and averaged about 5 assists a game. Mark, he had that last night in his debut. Or was that his debut
And
last
I know,
night? He had
Chris,
15
a lot
points,
of these these so-called experts are saying, well, I'm not impressed with the deal. I don't like the deal. What's there not to like about the deal? You're right, Chris. He just stepped on the court and he gave you his average.
Yeah, he's signed through 25. Okay, and he's got the $73 million contract. He's gonna hit 15 against the cap this season, and it goes up about $1 million each year against the cap, which Mark again is not.
It's not a ton of money, Chris.
Yeah, for NBA that's not a lot of money, and they use some of that Fournier. Now I'm happy they used it for something good. Now they use the Fournier trade exemption to accommodate some of the salary. And by the way, they're getting another exemption by moving Richardson.
Yep.
So they're going to get something else in return, and they freed up money, Mark, right?
They freed up money. And listen, Chris, what these moves did was it sets them up for the summer. The elephant in the room has been, for the last 2 years, has been Bradley Beal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now Beal's available. Okay. He could take a max contract for like $240 million with Washington. He could. Yeah. He could come to us or any other team for $4 million, 4 years, like $180 million, $185 million, I think. Okay, so yeah, you could grab another $50 million with Washington, but you can still grab $185 million, Chris, and try to win a ring. You're never winning a ring with Washington. So if your goal as an NBA player is make money, he's going to make $185 million and win a ring. This is the kid's chance. So now you're going to put the press on to try to impress this kid to get him here. Because I think now, Chris, you got the pieces around with him coming in. You may have to move Marcus Smart and bring in a couple of veterans, mid-level veterans, like they did when they brought in House and Posey back in the day, right? When they had Garnett and those guys. You may have to do that again. But if you bring in a guy like Beal, Chris, and I think they set themselves up for that, you look around the league, I think we could win it.
Well, and again, the other thing, this Derek White, to me, he's going to push. I think he's going to push Smart, out of relevancy.
Oh, absolutely, he is.
And then I think so. And then the other trade, we knew Schroeder was going to be on his way out. So Schroeder, Ennis, Cantor, Freedom, Bruno Fernando, guys you needed to get off your books.
You had to get him off the books.
And they bring back Daniel Tice. I don't have a problem with that, Mark.
Yeah,
especially for the money.
A problem with him, Chris.
He gives you good he'll give you good minutes. He's tough. Go ahead, Mark.
He's tough. He'll go under the boards, Chris. He'll play that dirty game under there. He'll whack you in the beans. He'll grab you. They got nobody that does that, though, Chris. Think about it. Who's going to go under there and give somebody an elbow to the beans? They don't do that, right?
No,
he'll do some of that. I'm not saying he's an all-star, Chris, but he gives you something off the bench you didn't have.
He gives Williams some breather.
Yes.
Who, by the way, I feel like I told you, I think he's getting better and better. What he did to Jokic yesterday in the fourth quarter last night.
Yeah, I give you credit for that one, Chris. You've liked that kid now for 2 years. I wasn't crazy about him, but I've come around on him, and you called it last year, Chris. You said, no, this kid's going to be a player. I'm telling you. You called it, Chris. You've been high on Williams. I
like the chemistry the potential chemistry with Brown, Tatum, White, Williams. I'm liking that. Yep. And now, you, Mark says, and he's been saying it about Beal all along. Bring this dude in.
That's the elephant in the room. This is your shot this summer. If you don't get him, well, you know what?
And look, where's he going to go? I mean, Philadelphia and
he's not going to Philly.
Brooklyn, they got all, he's
not going to Brooklyn. He's not going to
go to the Heat. He's not going to the Heat.
He's not going to the Lakers.
They can't afford it. The
Lakers
are a mess.
Him. So you're right. Where's he going, Chris?
So, and he likes those guys.
Yeah. He's been friends with Tatum since they were kids. Right. So.
And so that's what the Celtics, they made some moves this week. It was good. I'm liking what Stevens did in his first, trade season.
Listen, he did a hell of a lot more than Ainge has done the last couple of years during the trade deadline.
Well, Ainge developed that reputation of trying to rake people, looking for their firstborn. Yeah. So, and Mark, the only other thing that we could talk about a million things, but the thing I know you wanted to talk about too, Jonathan Allen for Washington. What did this fool do this week? You know what, Chris? We've talked about this, the mentality of some of these modern athletes, right? So, and this whole social media craziness and nonsense, right? So somebody asked him in Twitter, "Hey, if there were 3 people you could have dinner with, who would it be?" Well, he starts out all right. He says his granddad. Hey, great. You know what? Probably never met the man. Maybe he passed away before he was born. Hey, that's great. You want to have dinner with your granddad. And then he says Michael Jackson. Okay, listen, whatever. Hey, I'd like to have dinner. I'd like to have dinner with Michael Jackson. Don't you want to know? Michael Jackson's all right. Hey, listen, that'd be a hell of an entertaining dinner, right? You could ask him a ton of questions, right? Yeah, make him do the moonwalk for dessert. Moonwalk? What? Moonwalk? Wow. That was his signature move, Mark. Hey, who are you kidding? You were in high school. You were doing that moonwalk all the time in elementary school. Yeah. Wearing the jacket and the glove. Joe had the glove. I had the glove. Joe, you had the glove, Joe? Skeffington made me do the dance. This is Skeffington. Wow. Jesus Christ. I had the glove. I was showing a friend of mine, behind everybody, I was sneaking it to him. Oh, what's that, Joe? What you got there? I got the glove. Had to get up in front of the whole class. Yeah, we were all doing that in high school. This was the guy in high school. I just got this picture sent to me today. Look at this fool in high school. Oh, good God. Oh, my God. With the bright lighting, Christopher, you look the same. Yeah. I don't know about that, but the hairline. Then the third person he wanted to have dinner with, Chris, was Adolf Hitler. What? His excuse was, he was a great military mind. Wow. What? And it's not funny. I'm not laughing at how atrociously evil this dude Hitler was, but just that some more. Chris, first of all, listen, let's not even talk about the fact about what he did. I'm not even going to get into that, okay? That's beyond even explanation, and everybody knows it. I'm not going to get into it. But then he said he's a great military leader.
He's military strategy, Chris. He was fighting on two fronts. That alone, he wasn't even a good military strategist. What
They
the hell
lost.
are you talking about? He
They
lost.
lost.
He lost.
That's it. They lost.
Shit, I'm not talking about the other nonsense, the craziness.
I mean, he's
I don't know
evil.
what these guys
Just
think,
evilness.
Chris. But you know what, Chris? The nature of society today, he got away with it. Like, it just disappeared. It was a 2-minute thing. I apologize. I wasn't thinking, but nobody, like, that should have been a big thing, Chris. As a Jewish, if I was a Jewish American, oh my God, Chris, I would be out of my mind that this fool made that comment.
There's a person that needs some counseling.
You know what Alan gets? Here's what he gets.
As soon as I get home, the first thing I'm gonna do is punch your mama in the mouth.
I'm telling you, he's right. Jackie Gleason, Smokey and the
I
Bandit.
love it.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, Mark, I have nothing more to add to that. I mean, it's just absurd.
I mean, we
It's
had to bring
absurdly
it up
ridiculous.
just because
Absolutely, because
it's so disgusting. The comment is so disgusting.
it's
that
just
you had
dumb.
to bring it up.
It's
It's
just
dumb.
dumb. I mean, so and if he's saying that on Twitter or whatever, answering a question in public, I don't imagine what the hell he's talking about behind closed doors. This Allen guy.
God
Holy
only knows,
crap.
Chris. Who
Because
knows?
I would think it takes a lot of eggs or plain flat out stupidity, which I think is the latter, to make that statement.
Yeah, stupidity. Exactly.
So-
Stupidity. Yeah.
So many other things we could have gotten to, and we'll get to them next week. We'll talk. There's
Chris,
some
next
Bruins.
week, I do want to talk a little bit next week, not today, about Bruins and Brad
Yeah.
Marchand next week.
Oh my God, 6-game suspension. Stupid.
Yeah.
Right after your captain goes
Stupid.
down with a concussion.
Stupid, yeah. But next week, we need to talk about them, Chris. A lot's been happening with them.
Yeah, we're gonna do B's and C's, Bruins, Celtics. For those of you who like are on a time warp, that's Bruins and Celtics, B's and C's. So we
Well, Chris, football will be over. This is it.
I know.
This is it.
Oh, it's so sad. Doesn't it feel like we were doing just yesterday? We were doing our preseason show.
And just for the record, you did pick the Rams in your preseason show.
What the hell are we gonna do for 8 months? Anyway,
I don't know.
Weekly Rewind was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, Mark, when we come back, Mark tells me that this is going to be probably his best, if one of his best, if not his best Catone's comment. So right on the other side.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You liking the song? The sauce is good, man.
Start out finance, train them, trust them, and let them lead.
With your host, Marcus Aurelius. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Time for Catone's Comment!
So, Chris, last night, and Joe, I take my wife and I, we end up going to dinner, right? I go out to dinner. I want a nice, pleasurable experience. Pleasurable. I want to relax. I want a pleasurable experience. I pull up to the restaurant. I want to be able to park my car, and I want to be able to walk in. No. You pull up, you got to valet your car. Okay, I got to valet the car. I got to wait for somebody to come and take the car and my keys, right? Guy's going to get in my car, right? He probably just went to the bathroom, peed, wiped his ass. I don't know what he was doing. And now he's going to touch my steering wheel with his dirty hand.
I have
Right?
to
He's
get a
going
new
to put
car.
his dirty hands with COVID all over my steering wheel, my shifter. Okay, fine. Right? Then they play with the seat. They're going to put the seat back. I got little legs. I can't reach the goddamn gas app. Right? So now they want to play with the seat. Then they put the radio, the decibels. It's for dolphins, for crying out loud. The dolphins can hear it. They turn the decibels up so much, right? Now you go into the restaurant. Okay, we go into the restaurant. No problem. Now maybe I can relax. Maybe. We'll see. You get in. We sit down. I said, you know what? We touch doors, this and that. I'm going to go in the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, wash my hands nice, so they're clean. So we eat dinner. I go in there. They got a bathroom attendant. Passing, they're giving you something.
Oh, I
with your
hate
hands
that.
with.
Oh,
I want to pee in peace. Excuse my language. I don't want to see the attendant. I'm scared in there. I want to be by myself. Okay. I go to the bathroom. Now, Chris, the guy I go, I wash my hands, right? He gives me the thing to dry my hands. Well, what's the thing you're supposed to do? I guess etiquette, you're going to tip the guy. Well, now I just washed my hands. I got to go touch dirty money. Dirty money to tip this imbecile. This imbecile who's sitting there with the paper towels to dry your hands. So now I got to tip him. And then I got to wash my hands again. You know,
So he gives you another towel.
I ain't tipping this food again. All right, forget it. Handle with a towel. I throw it out. Okay. Now I go sit down. I order my dinner. Well, we order a couple appetizers, whatever. So now the appetizers come. The fool waiter he's bringing the main course. We're not done with the appetizers. Well, first of all, you can't order the appetizers and sit like normal people and relax. Now everything is rushed. After I have my appetizers, I'll order my dinner. That way I can relax. I'll have a drink. Nice. Nope, can't do that. Gotta order everything at once. Now the idiots, rather than pacing it, listen, it's common sense. Pace out the dinner. Pace it. Now what you're eating's ice cold because now we're sticking it on the table, right? Come on. Jesus Christ. So now, okay, that happens. No problem. So now you eat main course. I order the veal steak. They load the dish with all these vegetables. Vegetables, I don't even know what they look like. I don't know what they are. I've never seen them, never heard of them. I said to my wife, what the hell are these things? I don't know what they are. Right? Okay. So now, the veal steak is the size of my big toe. Are you kidding me? I spent all this money for a piece of veal steak the size of my big toe? Then, to finish the night off, you order coffee, maybe a piece of dessert. They give you the dessert, no coffee. They bring you the coffee after you eat the dessert. What? I was so beside myself when I went home. I had to go home and pour a glass of bourbon. My hand was shaking. Crying out loud.
How's that different than any other night? Mark. Okay. Joe, I think some of this needs to be unwrapped. No. First of all, this restaurant, I really think they should be calling.
I'm not going to mention the name.
No. I don't think they would, but I think they should start calling it the Big Toe Steak. Don't you, Joe?
Big toe steak.
Big Toe Steak.
Big
And listen,
toe steak.
for those of you who don't know, a shifter is the handle that you put into the gear. You put into reverse, neutral.
But what do you
drive.
call it? What's
The
a
shifter?
I don't know.
I haven't heard it called a shifter since '82.
I don't know what it's called.
Mark, listen, Joe. I mean,
Why, you want the dirty valet guy with his dirty hands?
well,
stuck in the steering wheel?
I got to get a new car then. At this point, kidding me?
Guy,
Are you?
get it, yeah.
Like, are you? I don't want anybody. I can't. Like I said, I don't bring the car to the car. They got to get inside my car. No. I don't want anyone touching things. Yeah, I'm with you. That pressure to have to valet the car because where you are, there are no parking spaces anyway.
no
They
parking.
all taken up by the valet people, right?
Yep.
And the tip, Joe. Mark, you're so right about the tip. I very rarely carry cash anymore.
Nobody carries cash anymore.
Nobody does.
Right. So now you're in the toilet, okay? And like Mark said, I agree. You got to pee in peace, right? No, listen, you chat in. Let us know, okay? Because you can hear us live on Podbean, just so you know. You can interact with us while we're recording. Who out there likes to go to the bathroom in front of people? With somebody just standing there. It isn't like they're doing their business too. You're standing there, just standing there waiting for you, Mark. Talk about stage fright.
Chris, you don't understand. Last night, I was absolutely out of my mind. Out of my mind.
The Big Toe Steak, though, is
Big toe steak.
Big Toe Steak. That has to be marketed. Yeah, Mark. I mean, I can't agree. Joe, I gotta agree with the guy.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean,
Normally, I think he's
the
just
guy-
crazy.
I feel bad for that attendant too. Like, what's he done in his life that it was like he's
Who wants to sit in a
What's-
dirty bathroom? You're sitting in a dirty bathroom.
Well, I
passing
assume
out
this was a
paper
nicer
towels.
restaurant. It's probably
No,
how
but
dirty can it be?
No, it's still a bathroom. I don't care how nice the restaurant is. Yeah,
Mark
don't-
doesn't go to dumps.
No, It was nice, but it's not the point, Chris. It's still a bathroom, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, dude. I don't want to go to the bed. And yeah, you're right. They give you the towel, and it's like, it's just that awkward.
Yeah.
Here's some money. You should just give them like $10 and say, you know what, this is for the night. This is for
Get the hell out of here. Go home, pal.
Leave me alone. Hey, just be thankful that the dude that's giving you the towel in the bathroom isn't the same guy that's parking your car.
I thought that's where it was going.
I did too. He's gonna recognize him from the bathroom.
Oh, that kills me. The valet guys. That's they're touching everything in the car. Please.
Well, just so everybody knows, we're going to be doing a promotion at some point where one lucky fan is going to be able to follow Mark around for an afternoon, and they may be taking part of the next Catone comments just by doing that. So excellent, Mark. Excellent. You did not disappoint this week. Catone's comments was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. When we come back, everyone in the nation, Pat's Nation, have a lot of football talk right after this.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Now back to CORSO and Catone and the Pats Nation.
Back in with CORSO and Catone, the real deal New England feel, and everyone in the Pats Nation and everybody out there. Welcome back. And Mark, we got a lot of football talk, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But first, I think we got some coaching things to discuss, don't we?
I think we do, Chris.
Coach's
We
Corner,
definitely
Joe.
do.
Let's have it.
Coach's Corner.
Mark, after this week, I think I'm a Cincinnati Bengal fan. Will you tell everybody what happened this week if you've been living in a cave?
Well, so the Patriots, of course, we know last week they lost McDaniel, right? We know that. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And then this week they go and they bring back Joe Judge to be an offensive, assistant, consultant. I don't know what he is, assistant, I guess. I don't know. So the rumor was they were going to bring back Bill O'Brien to be offensive coordinator. He's now offensive coordinator down in Alabama. That doesn't happen. So the logical thinking is Joe Judge is going to call offensive plays because what a job he did in New York after Garrett got fired.
31st in the league.
Yeah, what a job he did with Daniel Jones.
31st in the league, the offense, Mark. 31st. So what the hell is the offense going to look like? I mean, Well, okay. This was not a respected guy in the locker room.
No.
Joe Judge.
No.
The players couldn't stand him.
No.
So now you're going to bring him back here.
Yeah.
What free agent? And you need receivers.
The only thing I can think, Chris, is maybe you're going to bring in a guy like Adam Gase to be quarterback coach and help with the play calling because he was a decent quarterback coach. I'm not saying he was a good head coach, but quarterback coach. Or I don't know, Chris. If you brought in Joe Judge to be offensive assistant, it doesn't seem like O'Brien's coming here, right? That doesn't seem like that's happening.
No, and by now it would because they have to make decisions, do things. Senior Bowl just passed, and Combine's going to be coming up. So,
according to Seth Wickersham's book, right? If you read through that, he makes a comment about when McDaniels was leaving to go to Indy. Belichick's thought was he was going to be able to take a little bit more control of the offense because it's something he wanted to do.
Well,
And he was, guess what? It says right in the book, Chris, that he was going to promote Joe Judge to work with him around the offense. But Belichick would be the brains behind it, and Judge would be the guy who would work in the meetings. And so if that's the formula he's going to go with, Chris, that's going to fail miserably.
it's just retread after retread. You know what I mean? It's just recycling the same and I'm sorry, it's recycling the same garbage that you've been recycling.
Well,
I'm
Chris,
not
they don't
saying
wanna,
Joe
Chris,
Judge
they don't
is
want
in
to
a,
pay anything, Chris. What
no,
do they pay
and
for
that-
coaches?
Well, because Judge is getting paid from the Giants are paying him. My understanding
Judge is probably here for free.
My understanding is Belichick's got like a 20-25 million a year deal. Okay.
Yep.
And my understanding of the structure is he has autonomy to pick the coaches, but he's
Yep.
the one who pays them. So
Okay.
he's paying the coaches.
So that comes out of his 20-25 million, Chris.
That's my understanding. It's hard to believe.
Okay.
So coaching has always been on the cheap with them.
Okay.
It just has, which tells you what a good coach
Except for
Belichick
McDaniels.
is. Except for McDaniels, right. Which tells you what a good coach Belichick actually is, because he's had crap around them. And now, Mark, I can't
Yeah, but
imagine
Chris,
what the locker room's going
this
to be
is
like
the
with this
worst.
dude.
But Chris, if you looked at them last year, okay, if you looked at the pre-snap penalties, you look at you look at special teams, you look at the undisciplined nature of what they were doing in certain situations, Chris, I would say they were a poorly coached team.
Yes,
I'm not saying
absolutely.
Overall, Chris, when you look at all the different positions and position groups, they were a poorly coached team.
Especially,
So what makes us
especially on
think-
special teams.
So what makes us think, Chris, they're going to be any better next year? What's going to make that any better?
Nothing. I
When
mean,
you got
just,
the same cast of buffoons around you.
you tell me Belichick's focusing more on the offense. That doesn't make me feel a hell of a lot better, because as wonderful of a coach he is, I'm curious. If they said, "Hey, Joe Judge is coming back and he's going to be the special teams coach," okay, I'm okay with that because he's not
Chris,
a terrible coach.
He's going to be an offensive. I do think one of his duties will definitely be overseeing special teams. I think that imbecile they got doing special teams is probably going to now report to Joe Judge, and Joe Judge will oversee what goes on with special teams. There's no way they can leave that kid in charge.
He's the Mark. You know what? I'm sick and tired of this shit. He's the OC. He's the OC. Okay. It's irritating as hell because Belichick, and I'm not saying it because of a racial issue. I don't see Belichick as that, but to get around, he wants the guys he wants. And he doesn't want to go through all the other stuff and the rules.
So he don't want to go through the rules and go through the interviews, Chris. So
I think it's simply because he wants who he wants, not because he doesn't want to give a minority a chance.
No, Chris, he's always had people of them people of color on his staff.
Yeah.
Always.
Cornell,
the issue with him, Chris, is you're right. He wants what he wants. He's old school. Listen, I want Chris to be my defensive coordinator. Yep, you're hired as defensive coordinator. I ain't interviewing all these idiots that I know I'm not hiring. Okay, fine. But if he gives somebody the official title, I believe the Rooney Rule is you have to have a protocol for the interview process where you're going to interview certain people. He, like you said, Chris, he just don't want to do that.
And in my opinion, once again, I think if he felt that a minority, a person of color was who he wanted, he'd go get him. That's what he would do.
Of course he would.
He wouldn't, I don't think that occurs to him to even
listen, Chris, I wouldn't have put it past him reaching back out to Flores if all this stuff didn't happen.
No, I mean,
right?
no, he's a
you
great
and I
coordinator.
talked about the fact that he might bring him back to work with his defense.
Our defense was never better in these later years than when Flores had him. Not Patricia. Patricia sucks. So, Mark, you got Patricia? You got Patricia? You got Judge
Chris,
in that
you
room.
should feel better. Patricia's going to, I think, run the draft room.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Mark? I'm rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals now. That's it. I'm sick and tired of goddamn Patriots. I've been containing myself, listening to this shit all week long. You got dinosaurs. Belichick's becoming one. Joe Judge, Patricia. They had a meltdown last year after the bye week. What the hell you think's going to happen? Mark,
Chris,
you're giving Mac Jones. You're giving Mac Jones to Joe Judge. Look at what he did to Daniel Jones. He destroyed that guy. That guy is going to be in counseling for the rest of his life.
Chris,
because of Joe Judge.
Joe. I think he's Joe. He's getting a little excited, Joe.
We have to set up.
Don't screw with my Patriots.
Chris, listen, in all seriousness, right? Jones, Mac Jones was just runner-up to Offensive Rookie of the Year behind Chase, which everyone
Right.
knew Jamar Chase was going to be Rookie of the Year. Obviously,
Easily,
offensive side of the ball. That's an easy pick. Just like
Yeah.
everybody knew Parsons would be on the defensive side of the ball. 2 unanimous easy picks. But so you got a kid, Chris, that performed well. Now
Yes.
you're gonna give him to Joe Judge.
He had one of the best rookie seasons
Well, no,
after
and the other
Dak
thing they're saying,
Prescott
Chris,
and
is
Wilson.
they think that the other kid that's going to have some say now is the tight ends coach. Belichick likes this kid, Nick Haley, and I don't know anything about him.
Mark, all I can tell you is okay. Then you mentioned the draft. This is the last thing I'll say before we get to Mayo versus Junior. We talk about the draft, right?
Yep.
At least when O'Brien came in, he's got a connection to college. He's got a connection to the SEC where he recognizes its speed, and those are the guys you should get. He would have pushed back on Belichick a little bit. He wouldn't have been so much a stooge to him. Now, you got Matt Patricia, you got Joe Judge. Those guys are going to be sitting there going, Bill, whatever you want, Bill, whatever you want. Want me to get you and your dog for the draft? You want me to get you a cup of coffee? Want me to get you something? Want to go to the restaurant, Mark, and get a big toe sandwich, a big toe steak? Let me go get that stuff.
Why are you going to bring up the big toe steak? Why? Bring up the big toe steak. I finally calmed down, Joe. He's going to bring up the big
Joe
toe
Judge
steak.
is going to be Joe Judge. Joe Judge should be that guy in the bathroom giving out towels. That's what he should be doing for tips. That's it. So, Mark,
I think that officially ends that segment, Joe. Jesus Christ. You want him to go hand out towels in the bathroom.
It's just dinosaurs. I don't even know what to say. I mean, we're in the
Chris, the one thing I will say to
prehistoric,
end that topic
whatever.
is O'Brien would have brought modern concepts with him from Alabama. They do this. They got that spread offense in Alabama. He uses the receivers in a different way than Belichick's using receivers, right? He would have brought some of those.
Smith,
and Chris, but Chris, those concepts Jones is comfortable with because that's what he ran down there. So you weren't going to bring something in. It would have been the old, what McDaniels did, and you would have infused some new concepts to add on to that, which is what you have to do, Chris.
Is he checked? I mean, he wasn't even at the but he wasn't at the Senior Bowl last year either.
He wasn't there last year either, Chris. But he had Ziegler and those guys, I think, organizing that. So I don't know who was there. Wolf? Patricia. No, your buddy Patricia was there. Patricia
Great.
was there.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Because he didn't destroy. He went to the Lions. He didn't destroy too many players there, did he? So Mayo, listen, because we want to get to our Super Bowl breakdown, but Mayo versus Steve Belichick. You heard Mayo this week. Eloquent. You can see when you hear him speak.
Oh, he's going to be a head
people
coach
want
real
him to be a
soon in
head
this.
coach.
Chris, he's going to be a head coach soon in this league.
So you heard. So Mark, tell us. Talk to them about what was said this week. What do we hear?
So a couple of different things. So Mayo says that Steve was calling the plays. Belichick was calling plays, but Steve had input, and he was he would run some of the he would run the meetings, and sometimes Steve would run the meetings. But it made it seem like Mayo was controlling the defensive room and running meetings, and behind the scenes, it was almost like Steve Belichick was calling the plays and coming up with the game plan for the week. At some point, Chris, I think the players, they X'd that out. They shut that right down, I think. And that was confirmed this week, I think, by Judon. Because when Matt Judon was asked this week about the coaching, two things with that, and then I'll let you respond, Chris. He says Coach Mayo would stand up at the meetings and run the meetings, and Steve Belichick would run some too, but he said Steve would run some too, but it was basically like Steve wasn't running anything. He said, but and Steve would call the plays. So I took from that, okay, you're calling him Coach Mayo and him Steve.
Yeah.
It's like that to me shows
that's a subtle
different
point.
level of respect, right? To me, right? Steve's the coach's kid. Coach Mayo, we respect him. He played the game. We got respect for Coach Mayo, right? And the second piece is they asked Judon what happened to the defense towards the end, and he says, we weren't sticking with the scheme, and we were undisciplined. We were doing our own thing. Well, how does that happen, Chris? If you got respect for your DC and he's calling the play, and you're not doing it, you're doing something different. You're freelancing. That was the word he used where we started freelancing. How does that happen, Chris? On a Belichick coach team?
He's famous for that too.
Mark, Chris, on a Belichick coach team?
Yeah, it's when you don't when you think you know more than the guy that's calling the play. This is what ends up happening. And Mark, the one thing I did see in that was a great point, the subtle point about Coach Mayo versus Steve. That
just hit me, Chris. When he said that,
I haven't heard that all week long. So that's a good point. The other one, Mark, is if you listen to Judon in previous press conferences, he's a happy guy. He's a guy, an excitable guy.
Did he?
No, he didn't. When he was giving that interview on Radio Row, he was just monotone. No, there's no
Chris,
issues.
Something's
he
wrong,
says, no,
Chris.
there's no issues. There's no
Chris,
issues.
something's wrong in that locker room.
Yeah, he says there's no issues with the coaching staff. We that's bullshit, Mark. That's bullshit. There is something wrong with the coaching staff. So, Mark, bottom line,
Chris,
name Mayo.
How do you fix it?
Mayo the DC.
So how do you fix it?
Name Mayo the DC. That's it. Mayo's the DC.
The son, obviously, the son's not going anywhere. He ain't firing his son.
Well, he better call somebody up. I mean, we've criticized Mayo saying he hasn't had much experience. But the more I listen to him, the more I think he should get a shot at. Not to mention the fact that if Belichick, the stooge on the other side of the ball, if he thinks now he's going to focus on the offense, you better do something. Mark, it's a great point. So that may be at odds, all next
Chris,
season.
I'm going to reiterate what I said about 15 weeks ago, and I know a couple of our callers called in and gave us a little bit of crap for me saying it, because then the Patriots started to win, and we started to talk much better about the coaching and the team. And I'm going to reiterate what I said, because I've never gone away from it. I believe Brady went. It's time to redo this thing. It's time for Bill to go next. Bill's going to go, Chris. He's going to go.
Yeah.
And get rid of all these buffoons with them.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in a young guy with fresh ideas,
like
Chris,
McVay,
one of those types of guys, right? And let them mold Mac Jones.
The one in the St. Cincinnati. Yeah. Mark, I think, and next week we're going to talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot about this, and especially as we make our way up to the combine.
Yeah.
Who's watching things? Who's showing up?
Yep.
And things like that. So we'll start figuring out what the hierarchy is with the Patriots, but I think we're going to be disappointed. So Super Bowl 56, Mark. Super Bowl 56. The Rams, even though they home, are the road team playing against Cincinnati Bengals. Mark, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen
Chris,
here?
First of all, I'll say this. How's the Bengals offensive line going to handle Aaron Donald and Von Miller? Because the right side of that offensive line, Chris, is putrid. Yeah. So you're going to have to double team Donald. My prediction is Von Miller's going to have 2-3 sacks easy in this game.
Too. Yeah.
Floyd, they're going to come off the edges because you're going to have to try to figure out a way to stop Donald, Chris. And they're going to be all over this poor kid, all over him.
Yeah, they're the new fearsome foursome over there, like Deacon Jones and those guys and Merlin Olsen back in the day.
That's going to be one of the keys to the game, Chris. If you can't keep this, because if you stop banging this kid on every play, like we did in 2002 to the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
How does the kid respond to that in a Super Bowl? I get what he did in the Raiders game. Yeah, they sacked him the Tennessee game. I'm sorry, they sacked him 9 times. I get it.
They can do that. What the hell's
That's what I'm saying, Chris. But if you get sacked 9 times in a Super Bowl, that's a totally different atmosphere.
Oh no, you're not getting out of that. And Burrow did great job sneaking out, escaping, all that stuff.
And by the way, Chris, the Rams have a better offense than Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, Mark, the last thing I'll say about that pass rush is like the Giants against Brady. You can get to him with 4. They can do some things with Jamar Chase. They'll bracket him. They'll bump him. They'll do things.
The key to the game is Chase, right?
Yeah, I mean, but you can do things with him to take him out of the game. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an uphill battle. But you're right. On the other side of the ball, though.
What about Stafford? He's Chris. He gives you one. He's going to give you one. He gave one to Tampa that game. He hits the guy right in the chest at the 50. The guy drops it. The guy don't drop that ball. Tennessee does not come back up. The Rams don't come back in that game, Chris.
And Higbee is out tomorrow. That's tight end.
Chris, my mind, I got myself all excited.
Still thinking about that bathroom attendant.
Yeah. I meant to say the San Fran game.
Yeah. And the problem, and Higbee is out, though, for the Rams.
And Higbee,
that's a bigger deal than you think.
Yeah, he opens up that field, the center of that field for them, Chris.
Well, he allows Cooper Kupp to be able to run those deeper posts or those skinny posts, too.
Yeah.
Or those corner patterns and things like that. And no
one talks about Higbee's role in that, Chris.
No. And so we'll see. I mean, Stafford, yeah, he's going to screw something up. And you hope McVay isn't going to be staring out into the field like a deer in headlights. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, you hope that's not
he
gonna
does
happen.
that. Yeah, what was that about? He did it. He's done it a few times, Chris.
Real poor body language. Real poor.
I mean, obviously, we know he did it against Belichick, but he did it in the Tampa game. And Chris, he even had that look in the third quarter against San Fran.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. I mean, and that was going against Garoppolo, which you knew he was going to screw up. So Stafford will give one away. He'll do something stupid in this game. He will. It's just a matter of that Cincinnati secondary. They're going to get, we'll see. They're going to get, they're going to get tested like they've never have this year.
Oh, the X factor in this game.
I know with Mahomes and everything, but I think this is a bigger test, a tougher, in my opinion, a tougher test in Kansas City for that offense. It's just the problem is you got Stafford versus Mahomes. That's the difference. But I think the skill guys on the Rams, they're as good as anybody.
Yeah. No,
Cooper Kupp was the Triple Crown winner this year.
Nobody talks about the season that Kupp had, Chris. Oh my God, it was like a historic season.
So, Mark, who wins the game and why?
I'm gonna go with the Rams, even though I told you gave me a lot of shit when I told you leading into that first playoff game. I said this team is the real deal.
Yeah.
And you wanted to play them with New England because you said that Joe Burrow, Chris's exact words were Joe Burrow was going to wet himself. Well, we're still waiting for him to wet himself. He hasn't done it yet.
He's never going to let me forget.
And I don't know if he's going to wet himself tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are just going to play better. I don't think it's going to be because Burrow wet himself. I think it's going to be because the Rams come up with a play here or there, like you said, Chris, with the offense. I say Rams 33-30 Rams, late field goal, because you predicted them at the beginning of the season. I said the winner of the Tampa Rams game would win the Super Bowl. I got to go with the Rams.
I don't have it as high scoring, simply because I think the Rams defense will dictate the tone of the game, in my opinion. And so, to me, I want to pick Cincinnati.
Oh, I
want to, because it's a great story.
I'm rooting for Burrow.
It's a great story in an organization that doesn't spend dust on their upper
Chris,
echelon organization.
Next week, Chris, I want to get into why can't we get there next year if Cincinnati got there, but that's next week.
Yeah, we're gonna break down the result of the Super Bowl next week as it relates to the Patriots and what can we do to get there. But I'm at 28-24 the Rams, and the reason I'm giving that, I think the Rams are going to jump out to a lead, a 10-point plus lead. But like Cincinnati has done in every single playoff game, Joe Cool is Joe Cool. And sorry, Joe, but he is the new Joe Cool. He's going to keep them in the game. They're going to come back. I just don't know if they got enough to come back all the way this time.
Yeah.
So I
against
got
that defense.
Right, 28-24. So Mark, we didn't get the 2-minute warning today, but we do have to mention, we'd be remiss if we didn't. Richard Seymour got into, he's the ninth Patriot to get into the Hall of Fame. What do you think, Mark? Does he deserve?
Oh, absolutely well deserved, Chris. He was a big part of those early years, those early dynasty years. Congratulations to him. He absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, getting to just the numbers we care about. He has 50, and he had 4 years with Oakland too. But 57.5 sacks total. He's got 326 career tackles, 172 assists, 498 assists, tackles for losses, 90. He's got good numbers, 73, 79 quarterback hits.
Chris, in his prime, it wasn't even the numbers. He was just dominant. But Chris, he was just dominant in his prime.
Mark, 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champ, and from 01 to like 05, 06, he was, even 07, he was
the best at his position, Chris.
Yeah. So congratulations to Richard Seymour. Well-deserved in our opinion. And the other thing is Tuukka Rask retired today, this week. So
yeah, okay, that's it. That's all we're going to say about that.
I mean, he had a good career.
We'll talk about him next week.
Nice steady career.
But anger for next week.
Yeah, he retired. We'll talk about him next week.
He's all done. So some people to thank, Mark, this week flew by again. The Good People Special Sauce Podcast startup. No, sorry. What is your special sauce? I'm thinking of the old slogan, Joe, the old slogan. What is your special sauce? Specialsauce.com. Jag Media Productions, the good people over at Studio 42 Designs. Studio42designs.com, and Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Listen, every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. We have all of our staples, Heated Hotline, Weekly Rewind. We will be getting back, as we said, to Celtics Bruins talk. We're going to be doing that. And listen, stick around to Catone's comments. You know you can hear it. Every show, there's something to hear and see. And we'll have a recap of that Super Bowl 56 and break it down. And I'm sure we can sneak in some Patriots talk. So for Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. So long, everyone.